Welcome to Networks Professionals.
Hey everyone, welcome. Every single time you connect to a network, there's this entire invisible architecture working behind the scenes, just keeping your digital life running smoothly. Today in this explainer, we are unlocking the mystery of private versus public IPs. If you've ever, say, poked around your network settings and just seen this massive jumble of numbers, or maybe you've wondered how a piece of data actually finds its way to your specific screen out of the literally billions of screens on the planet. Well, we're going to map out exactly how this whole shebang works based on the source material we're looking at today. Let's get into it. So, let's start with a question. How do all of your devices seamlessly share just one single internet connection? Think about it. You've got your smartphone, your laptop, maybe a smart TV or a couple of smart speakers buzzing away in your house. They're all downloading data, they're all refreshing feeds at the exact same time, but there's only one cable, just one main connection coming into your house from the outside world. How does the internet not just completely mix everything up? Like, how does a website notice send a video to your laptop and a text message to your phone without crossing the streams? Well, the secret lies in exactly how we organize network addresses. Which brings us to Section 1, the two worlds of IPs, public versus private. Okay, let's dive into this. On one side, we have the realm of hidden local networks. This is the domain of private IPs. It's closed off, it's a secure, internal space. Just your stuff. But then, on the exact opposite side, we have the globally visible open internet. This is the realm of public IPs. It is vast, it is totally exposed, and it's where everything connects to literally everything else. Honestly, you really can't grasp how the internet works until you understand that it's split right down the middle into these two totally distinct, completely separate realities. So let's look at Section 2, the private IP realm, basically your local networks. All right, so inside this isolated little environment, private IPs are used for local area networks, or what we call LANs. Think of your house or your office. These addresses, they are completely hidden from the public internet. The outside world has zero idea they exist. They're handed out dynamically by your local Wi-Fi router, and they're just there to make sure your devices can communicate securely behind the scenes, right within your own network. Now, this internal world relies on highly structured, reserved blocks of addresses. You've probably seen these before. There's the 10.0.0.0 range, the 172.16 range, or my personal favorite, the absolute classic home network staple, the 192.168 range. These specific, somewhat robotic blocks of numbers are strictly reserved. They act as the designated hidden language of private networks. All right, moving on to Section 3, the public IP world, the open internet. So, stepping outside your local network, we enter the domain of wide area networks, the open internet. And unlike your private, cozy home network, these addresses are globally visible. They are routable. Everyone can see them. Because they're the gateway to the world, they aren't handed out by your little local router. No, they are assigned by your internet service provider, your ISP. And their whole job? Device-to-world communication. If you want to talk to external servers and websites, you absolutely must have one of these globally unique addresses. No exceptions. And it really comes down to a super simple rule of elimination. Any IP that isn't strictly reserved for private use is, by default, a public IP. Remember those blocks of numbers we just looked at? The 10s, the 172s, the 192s? Well, if an IP address doesn't fall into those strict reserved private ranges, it defaults to the public pool. It's kind of fascinating, actually. This rule of elimination highlights just how unimaginably vast the pool of public internet addresses truly is when you compare it to our tiny little private networks. And this brilliantly illustrates the contrast. We've got this clear-cut dichotomy. Private IPs, they're for hidden local LAN communication handled by your router. Public IPs, they are for global WAN communication assigned by your ISP. So you have this secure, isolated inside and this vast, routable outside. But, this creates a real technical tension. Think about it. If your smartphone only has a private hidden IP address, how on earth does it ever actually view a globally public website? Well, that brings us to Section 4, bridging the gap with NAT. Enter the real hero of the story, NAT, which stands for Network Address Translation. This is the crucial process your router uses to literally swap a private IP for a public IP. See, when your phone tries to access the open web, it can't just use its internal address. Nobody out there would have a clue how to route the data back to you. So your router steps in. It intercepts the request, and like a spy, it masks your device's true private identity, swapping it out for its own globally routable public IP address. Let's put it all together in Section 5, the final connection. All right, let's follow the journey of just one single request. Let's say your laptop tries to load a website. It sends the request using its private IP, but before that request even leaves your building, the local router intercepts it. Boom. Using NAT, the router meticulously swaps that private IP for its official ISP-assigned public IP. It goes out, fetches the website data, and then securely routes it right back to your specific laptop. And because of this incredibly clever swapping process, dozens of local devices can seamlessly share just one single public connection to the internet without ever exposing their true internal identities. It's amazing. Which leaves us with a pretty provocative final thought to ponder. What would happen to your privacy if this local router swap didn't exist? Seriously, if NOT wasn't there acting as this invisible shield, every single device you own would be completely, entirely exposed to the open internet. Scary, right? Anyway, thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep questioning the invisible architecture all around you, and I'll catch you next time.
Thanks for watching.